Alright, am I live? Am I live? Looks like I'm alive. What's up? It's Terminator Juice. Get the chat. See how many people are watching. I'm going to do this formula for now. I'm going to switch to my desktop possibly at times. So, what's up, everybody? Terminator Juice. I'm going to try to be quick because there's some Rocket Laker Link just chimed in and I said Rocket Link. Rocket League tournament going on. My team Cloud9 plays in probably like 20 minutes. I'm going to try. I think they've already guaranteed their day 3 place, but I do want to watch them, so I'm going to try to be as quick as possible. I was going to do the juice opinions anyway. The main thing I want to do is kind of just reminisce and give you guys like my fondest arcade memories, and then go over like the most impactful like new arcade games that I can remember, like, you know, having fond memories of walking in the arcade for the first time and seeing these games that blew my mind. So I'm gonna kind of list the ones, the hallmark or flagship ones in my mind, in my memories, that stand out as like the big jumps, like, hey, this was a big event, this one came out, this was a big event, type of stuff. Before all that, and the reason I'm talking about it is because of the whole Terry Bogard in Smash Brothers debate, drama, whatever you want to call it. You got extreme opinions on both sides. I want to try to calm that down a bit. I'm not here to rant or call out people or anything. I got some logical things to say to hopefully get them calmed down a bit. I don't think it's as big of a deal as people are making it out, but I have been pretty disappointed by the community with some of the reactions from both sides, the extreme both sides, like I was saying. So I'll get into that, but I'm gonna start. Just give you guys I'm gonna be 100% real with you. My experience, my knowledge with the character Terry Bogard is very, very minimal. Actually, my most the SNK franchise I have the most really only memories with is Samurai Showdown. So obviously he's not in Samurai Showdown. So it was Monday's podcasts. We saw the leaked SNK stuff on Nintendo's website. We didn't really want to spoil it, even though most people in the chat knew about it. Got in quite a bit of a debate without trying to say the name of the character and company. It was pretty interesting to say the least, trying to keep it spoiler free, but have everybody give their thoughts. So just being honest with you, actually it was Tuesday, it might have been Monday or Tuesday, in the Hangouts chat that me and the podcast guys have. First Terrell typed a character Mia, I think it was, and then Retro Death typed the character name Terry Bogard. And honestly, it sounded immediately familiar, but it wasn't like, oh, I know who that is. I was just like, okay, that name's definitely familiar to me. Haven't heard it in a while, but that name's familiar, so I recognize the name. That type of situation. Clocked It brought out some of the SNK franchise, Samurai Showdown, King of Fighters, and Fatal Fury. Instantly, I thought Fatal Fury. I'm thinking Final Fight. I'm thinking a beat 'em up. I wasn't sure. That was my gut reaction. And then I think I was at work, so it was Tuesday. And then or maybe it was Monday. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter what day. I looked up gameplay footage, which actually I'll switch to. I looked up gameplay footage, and it's one of those when something jogs your memory, like to go from not sure what the franchise was to when I saw it, I had like an immediate memory pop up. And it was this video actually. So as soon as I saw this, I remembered, what the fuck? I just wanted that. I remembered my experience with the series, and it brought back this like very vivid memory. So my experience with Fatal Fury was going to Blockbuster, and it was like a 15-minute drive to get to Blockbuster, and looking through the games. And I don't know which game it was or what games I went there for, but none of them were available because they only had one copy of each, and they were all rented out. So looking through and just settled on a Fatal Fury. I don't know which version it was, if it was the original, if it was the sequel or the special. I remember seeing it in like a Nintendo Power or something. Got the game home. Buddy was over. I couldn't tell you how long we played. I want to say it was probably between 1 to 4 hours. Didn't really get the feel for it. We were big Street Fighter fans. I didn't know the moves. It was just one of those, next game type of situation. Took it back the next day. And literally that was the only time I played Fatal Fury. And I can honestly tell you, maybe once or twice since then, and this was mid-90s, so we're talking 25 years. I can't remember the last time I heard the name Fatal Fury until last Monday or Tuesday. So for me, it has just put in the storage of my brain somewhere and hasn't been recalled in at least 20 years, I would say. The King of Fighters, way more prevalent for me. Fatal Fury, I had forgotten. Basically, I had forgotten the series existed. And so yeah, King of Fighters definitely has been something I've been aware of. Neo Geo came out. I always remember the King of Fighters being like one of the flagship, must-have games if you're gonna buy an $800 system, and it's arcade perfect, ports. I do remember being jealous of like the Samurai Showdown being almost arcade perfect, where the Super NES version was pretty lame. It didn't have the scrolling in. For when your characters got close, I always liked that. Literally, and that's Terry Bogard right there. I recognize seeing him. I was like, oh yeah, he looks familiar. But if somebody had asked like a week ago, if someone said, hey, name a character from an SNK franchise, I wouldn't have been able to recall one. Name a character. Name the Ryu of King of Fighters. I wouldn't have been able to pull Terry Bogard out of my ass. Like, I just wouldn't have been able to. Once I seen it, I recognized it. Once I seen what he looked like, I recognized him. That type of situation. So that's honestly my full experience with the character and the franchise. I wasn't even aware that they were still making King of Fighters. So I looked up. Robert was talking about sales. Not really about. I don't think it was less about. I think it was less about. Does he deserve to be in Smash based on sales, or does he? It was a counter argument to people saying how popular he was. So for me, it's just one of those things. One of those franchises. One of those things I just missed out on, and for whatever reason, there's a million variables to why somebody played or didn't play a game. That it's just like, it just never never lined up for me to be like big into this franchise. Ever played it. I honestly can't tell you if I've ever seen a King of Fighters arcade cabinet in my life. Maybe I did. I just can't recall 100% fact that I've seen it. So that's my history with Terry Bogard. It's very minimal. I'm 40 years old. I was all into the arcade scene. The peak of fighting genre was the 16-bit era. I was there. I only had the Super NES, but I had friends who had Genesis and stuff. Didn't know a single person had a Neo Geo or TurboGrafx or anything. But yeah, I don't think Terry's a Japanese audience either, Stefan, because not huge sales in Japan either. So whatever. And then before I get into like the extreme reactions I'm seeing, I just want to comment real quick on the idea of, does a character deserve to be in Smash? And I think if Sakurai puts a character in Smash, I think right there, that should lend some pretty hefty weight whether a character belongs. I think personally, the Joker from Persona 5 was probably one of the least deserving characters based on, so many factors. But I don't remember this type of reaction to him. But whatever. Sakurai thinks he needs to be in there. That's the first thing you should consider. And then the next thing is, is there any kind of legacy? That's what I always think of. And so for the extreme people who are on the side of, hey, this is a popular character, how do you not know who he is? Or the other extreme, like, he doesn't belong in Smash. He has a long history. So for the people that say he doesn't belong in Smash, since 1991, this character's been in like apparently 50 games. The last game came out this generation for PlayStation 4, King of Fighters 14. So it's not a dead franchise. It's not some completely obscure character. So just consider that. For the other extreme, the people who are trying to sell Terry Bogard as this staple character, this, what's the word? Not mainstream. I had a word that I was going to use for it. But like, this very well-known character, I think those people on that side are being are overestimating or overstating the popularity of this character. And I just think both sides just need to like come back towards the middle here. And if you encounter just an extreme person who's on one side or the other and you disagree, if you want to debate or argue with somebody, that's fine. I made some tweets. I kind of said my piece. But, if you just look at the fact is, a lot of people don't know who Terry Bogard is. A lot of people didn't know who he was until Smash, till the Direct. That's just a fact. I don't know if you want to... you can't challenge that fact. That's just a fact. A lot of people don't know who he is. So the fact that a lot of people don't know who he is should kind of take some of the steam out of your argument that he's a really popular character. He just apparently doesn't look to be that popular amongst a lot of people. But he has a legacy. So, you definitely have an argument that he's been in games for a long time. And I don't think there's really anything wrong with somebody not knowing who a character is. I didn't know who Joker was until Smash. I think he's a cool looking character and he's all right to play as. No idea who he was. It is what it is. You either know something or you don't. The who, what, where, and why I don't think really matters in this situation. Unless some person claims to be like the ultimate fighting genre historian, then you might say, hey, what's up here? I thought you knew all this. Then I would call somebody like that out. But for the general gaming audience, I don't think there's anything wrong with not knowing a certain character or not having played certain games over the years. And, but it is what it is. I did see a good tweet. Somebody is like, hey, for those of you who don't know who Terry Bogard is, check this out. This kind of details. I don't know if it was a link to an article. Here's his history. Here's what he's all about type of stuff. I'm like, yeah, like T said, this is gaming history. And a lot of characters in Smash, people didn't know until Smash. And that, and now they know these characters. And now they like these characters. So, it's not a bad thing that a lesser known character gets put into Smash and gets eyes from 15 million or whatever Smash Ultimate's at now. Now this character's got a new life, a new lease on life. Just look at fucking Mega Man. Just look at how popular he was announced for Smash, but his games had really been lacking the amount of them and the quality of them, but put him in Smash and now he's like top tier character again. I think the same would happen for like Bomberman. Bomberman's not been a huge franchise over the years, long running franchise, but put him in Smash and he would become, way more popular. So it just is what it is, like I am a little disappointed, like I said, in some of the reactions. Obviously I'm on the side where I wasn't that knowledgeable about Terry Bogard. Felt a little disrespect for some tweets, not most. One of them was generated are right towards me. The others were just general statements. Just like, how do you not know who this person is? What? How can you not as an adult? And I'm just like, I shouldn't have to defend my gaming history. I just never played one of the games really. It's just like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal that he's in Smash, in my opinion. The one thing I was debating in the podcast the most, I just thought it was a curious choice for a DLC character where you're asking people to pay for it. Because for me, before the Joker really kind of had me worried when it first announced, but you're putting in third-party characters into this huge franchise. I mean, Smash is the biggest fighting franchise easily, probably of all time, based on sales per each game. So I can understand some people expecting like big, huge characters, but really there isn't that many left. I mean, just getting back to the people saying Terry Bogard don't belong, or maybe they're just not. It's just not an exciting character. There's not that many big third-party characters left. I mean, Smash has them covered. So it's like, really, other than like Lara Croft, I think Leon Kennedy, Jill Valentine, Claire Redfield from Resident Evil, are like the top two like third-party characters left that aren't in Smash that would be considered like huge, big name characters. Everybody else is like first-party IPs for Sony or Microsoft, or Sony has like Nathan Drakes and Kratos and stuff. Those are big, popular characters, but obviously Sony owns them. So as far as just third-party general characters, there's not that many left that would get that. There's not many more Ryus and Clouds and fucking Banjos. There's just not any left. So I mean, I'd say out of the choices, you got Rayman possibly still could be added. Robert loves to say Minecraft representation. Steve, I guess, is the main character. Minecraft is a huge fucking game. So I could see that happening. A Tekken character, again, I think you're getting into the same. I think Tekken, in my mind, Tekken's more well known, but I don't know for sure. I think you're going to have the same situation if you pull. I think it's just the fighting game genre in general. I don't think this is going to be like controversial, but it's not as popular of a genre. It's not. Back in the day, it was the number one genre. That's why we have all these games. That's why we have Fatal Furies and King of Fighters and Street Fighters and Mortal Kombat's, Killer Instincts, Tekken's. The fighting franchise genre was just huge. It isn't anymore. Then it went to like first-person shooters and four-player, split screen, with GoldenEye and Halo, and then first-person shooters continued with online, and then you had open world games, and now you have, I guess, open world's still taking off or still going, but I'm trying to think if there's genre now is kind of retro stuff with pixel art and stuff. So fighting genre is just not that big right now. I mean, it's big. Evo's popular and Smash is huge. Mortal Kombat X and 11 sold really well. So there's some franchises that are pretty popular, but it's just not that big of a genre. So I think if you're going to run into the same problem, you go any other fighting franchise, you're going to have the same problem. If you want to call it a problem, you have the same situation as Terry Bogard. Soul Calibur, who do you put in there? Keelik or Sofitia or something? Or Tekken, I don't even know a Tekken. I know the old dude. I know there's an old guy. Yeah, I'm just saying for the DLC, like if Terry Bogard was just in Smash Ultimate from the beginning, I don't think there'd be much of this going on. I think it's because it's one of the 5 slots. You're asking people to pay money for a character that, I mean, like I said, just factually speaking, a lot of people don't know who he is. It's just a weird choice. Yeah, I mean, but it's up to the person if they want to buy it. I thankfully, Renee hooked me up with the Fighting Pass. If I had bought the Fighting Pass, I would probably be a little more upset because the characters have been mostly disappointing. I think Joker completely just doesn't doesn't deserve a spot, has no legacy, never been on a Nintendo system. Like, there's so many reasons I think Joker was a bad choice, so that led me not to buy the Fighter Pass. Hero, Dragon Quest definitely deserve a rep. It's a long-running franchise since the NES, always on Nintendo systems. I don't have a problem with him being in the game, but not an exciting character. He's actually fun to play as, but not an exciting announcement. Japan definitely would disagree, but that was more catered towards the Japanese audience. And then Banjo is exciting as it was, and I mean, he was really trending. I think it hit number 2 on all of Twitter when he was announced back at E3. If you really look at it, he only had the one great game. The sequel was, a lot of people thought was good, but not as good as the first, if I'm remembering that correctly. And then the third game was kind of a joke. So not a lot of games, but definitely a historic Nintendo character from the N64 and Rare and that history. So I think that's a fine character I would have bought, but that's the only one I would buy. Terry Bogard might be an awesome character to play as. Just watching this gameplay, it doesn't look like he's got that great of a moveset in this game. But I'll probably check them out, and then I'll go back to my normal main characters. I think a lot of people will do that, so it's just really, I think people are gonna be looking back at this like, who cares at this point? Why did we get so upset over this character back in the when time passes, looking back. It'll be interesting to see who the final character is, though, because I think if it's if it's even a lesser known character again, or one that's never been on a Nintendo system, I think that's going to be kind of a fail for the Fighter Pass. But that's just me. Some people might absolutely love the Fighter Pass. I think Clocked It said he did. But if you want to knock it out of the park, and you want you're not going to have any of this conversation. I mean, you put Lara Croft in. Lara Croft will #1 trend on all of Twitter. No doubt about it. She's not going to get out trended by a fucking Mii costume. I mean, that's going to make people that don't even play video games know Lara Croft, see a little video about Lara Croft in Smash, and it's going to get their attention. That's just factual. So it's going to be interesting to see. All right, and like I said, I wanted to wrap this up a little quicker because of Rocket League. I'm actually going to see if the match is on yet. Maybe I can just watch it. I'm sure you guys will love me watching fucking Ryo Hayabusa from Ninja Gaiden. That'd be a cool one. I don't know about his Dead or Alive version. I'd almost want a more retro version. I'll have to watch this so I don't have to end this stream, because they've already guaranteed they're making day 3, so don't mind me watching some Rocket League so I can keep this stream going. Cloud9's already won a match, so alright, next thing I want to do is just talk about the arcade era for me, and kind of I've been reminiscing. I've been thinking a lot, because people challenging me and others about how don't know King of Fighters, but it just got me thinking about all my actual memories of games I actually played and experienced. So for me, I live in a city back then, probably 100,000 people. We had a mall downtown, had a dedicated arcade. I still remember the red, orange, and black, maybe some yellow carpet on the floor. The dark room, sticky floor, because people bring candy and pop and shit and spill it on the floor. Actually, the carpet was probably, it was in a lot of the shops. Maybe they went tile in the arcade, but either way, I still remember it. Then we had another arcade at a strip mall I never went to because it's further away. And then the second biggest one was actually at the cinema. Had a lot of the big cabinets, you know, the sit down racing ones and stuff. And then I had a bowling alley that had probably 6 or 7. They finally bowed out when the Killer Instincts and stuff started coming out, costing those cabinets cost like 10,000, 20,000, whatever it was back then. And then even convenience stores and restaurants had fucking arcade cabinets. So my first memory of playing an arcade game was Pac-Man. And I couldn't tell you exactly where I played it the first time, but it was a tabletop cabinet where you're looking down on like a glass piece of glass with like the screen underneath the glass. And the biggest like memory I have is, I don't know which Pac-Man it was, if it was Pac-Man 2 or Mrs. Pac-Man, when you got the power pellet and you became giant. Now correct me if I'm wrong, maybe that came in one of the console versions, but I remember that at the arcade where you became giant and everyone was like, oh my god, look how big you get. It was just, it stands out. It's definitely a highlight memory for me and Pac-Man. The next landmark experience for me was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was at a convenience store, not in my town, but where my cousin lived, about a mile from his house. We rode our bikes down, and we'd play 2-player, and if other people were playing, we'd play some 4-player action. Just absolutely loved that game. I don't know how many hours I put in the arcade, but a lot. I remember that convenience store. My cousin, as we got older, he was stealing like Swisher sweet cigars and stuff, and he kind of went down a different path than me. But that was like probably one of, if not my most played arcade game for sure. It's right there. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came later to the NES. Huge compromises, but it still was the core experience. My next, and some of these won't be in exact order, like chronological. The next big game, was Street Fighter 2. The World Warriors or whatever it was called. I don't remember the full title. It was at the bowling alley by my house. They only had a few arcade cabinets. And I still remember walking in. There's a glass entrance, glass doors. You take a right, go to the bowling alley, all dark. If you walked straight across through the door, there was like a separate room, all in glass, with another glass door with arcade cabinets. And I saw this Street Fighter 2, and I was like, what the hell is this? Start playing, picked Ryu, and the rest was history, man. I was like absolutely blown away. Couldn't wait to get back there. I don't care about bowling. I mean, we would bowl, but I just wanted to play Street Fighter 2. And then they got it at the main arcade as well. But just like, I still see it. It was daytime. It was well light. It was like right outside, and first playing it, figuring out how to do like the Hadouken and stuff. It's just, I mean, that was definitely one of my highlight arcade memories, along with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The next big one was when Mortal Kombat hit, and I couldn't tell you now if I knew about Mortal Kombat beforehand from magazines. I'd go to like the store and just read magazines while my mom grocery shopped. Ooh, nice. Get it? Oh my god. I just remember walking in, seeing a line of people in where a game used to be, thinking, what the hell? And then seeing that fucking footage, hearing that music, Liu Kang wins. Like, just hearing that, I might even heard it before I saw it, like that part. And just like, oh my god, having these like giant, realistic looking creatures go, damn, giant realistic like characters on screen. And I was just like, oh my god, seeing the blood, seeing the computer, if it wasn't 2 people playing, doing finishing moves, and just thinking, oh my god, like, this is amazing. Look how real these people look. Real. This is unbelievable, and just couldn't wait to play. I wish I could tell you the first character I played as. I want to guess like Sub-Zero. Raiden was always one of my favorites, though, so he might have been one of the first. that was just like amazing. I can't remember like if we got Mortal Kombat 2 in the arcade right away, or if, I know 3 for sure. I remember seeing that. But again, I don't live in like this super big city, so we didn't get everything. But yeah, that was a fond memory. The next one was probably the first like moment where I seen what yeah, Mortal Kombat looked realistic, but seeing Killer Instinct and it looked like CG, like it looked realistic, but also like I said, like CGI, and seeing the cinematics of the characters. I still remember walking in and hearing the whatever, off memory. I couldn't tell you what the music is. Seeing the Ultra 64 logo spinning around, like the rare logo, like come on, that was one of the biggest, definitely one of the biggest moments in my arcade memories. And just watching the combos, watching when someone would fall, and like I know Mortal Kombat had stuff too where people would fall like to their death, but Killer Instinct, maybe I'm wrong, but I swore you could like knock somebody off and then the fight would take place in a different part of the stage. Maybe that wasn't Killer Instinct, but I think it was. But like Orchid definitely was like my favorite character. I don't remember every single character from that. Like we had Glacius and Inferno, I think it was. And it's just the music and the visuals, and then the combo system, and you got the ultra combo. It was just like amazing, so that was definitely another hallmark. And again, I don't know the exact order that these sequences happened, but another big one for me was at a Pizza Hut of all places, and it was a double cabinet, tabletop one again, and it had Mrs. Pac-Man on one side, and it had fucking Samurai Showdown on the other. We didn't have Samurai Showdown at the actual arcade. The only place in town that had it was this Pizza Hut. And the thing I remember the most is how it would scroll in when the two players got close, like I said earlier. And it was like, oh my God, look at how it zooms in. It looks amazing. You got these awesome Japanese characters and the Japanese like historical music with those whatever instruments they use to make that cool sound. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't wait for this to come out on the Super NES. And it was a pretty big disappointment. It didn't have that scrolling feature. So we'd go get like cheesy breadsticks and fucking play Samurai Showdown. That was definitely the peak for me of the arcade experience. Like everything later, we started getting these games on the consoles, on the Super Nintendo and Genesis, so it was getting a little less exciting, especially for the fighting games genre. But I do remember the first time we got the 3D fighters, and I don't remember which one was first. It was either Tekken or Virtua Fighter. I remember the first time we got those, and it was like, holy shit. But they're like 75 cents each a playset. We went from 25 to 50, and all of a sudden with these 3D games, 3D fighters, they're asking 75 cents to $1 for one play session or whatever. What do you call it? Credit. And it was like, holy shit, that's ridiculous. But I do remember like seeing I think Virtua Fighter has a little more. I have a little more memories of than Tekken. Tekken definitely came around the same time, and it was very popular. I seen that in so many places, but definitely the prices going up is my biggest memory of those 3D fighters starting to hit. And then, like I said, I don't know the exact time frame. Daytona USA was a big one when that finally showed up with 4-player, 3-player, 2-player, depending on where you were. They had multiple versions, but seeing like multiplayer racing game where you sit in the fucking seat with the wheel or with the steering wheel and pedals and play fucking Daytona USA, and that had some pretty cool music. I couldn't recall right now, but that was a big one. I just wish this match would get over so I could keep a little more focus. But fuck, this is a 9-minute overtime. It's like Jesus Christ. Virtual racing was another one that fucking blew my mind. Only one place got it, and I'm trying to think. It was either the cinema or the main arcade. I cannot remember. But me and my buddy, I still know. It's the guy who said the words Terminator juice when we were playing GoldenEye. We saw this virtual racing, and we're like, what? We were just like mind blown. Like, holy shit. You know, polygons and all that. Because I think I'm pretty sure Star Fox was already out on the Super NES. And it got announced for the Genesis. And it was like $100 game. And I don't know if he bought it or we rented it. Oh, there we go. Nice. It definitely didn't live up to the arcade. It was still cool. But I just remember holy shit, my mind was blown by the polygons. So that might have actually been before the Tekkens and the Virtua Fighters. But yeah, that's like, to me, I was just thinking about every big monumental moment in my arcade memories. Those are like the top. Honorable mentions would be the House of the Dead, the Virtua Cops started showing up, the light gun games or whatever you want to call them. The on rails, those were pretty popular. Again, prices were going up. And then by the time, I think Cruis'n USA had some popularity, but I never really cared for it. There was a few other like racing games over the years. I can't remember their names. I figured if I can't remember their names, I can't claim that they're like hallmark moments for me. You know what I'm saying? But like, I want to say there was maybe Outrun, something with a Ferrari. Over the years I played. But yeah, so the arcade started to die. The N64 came out. Killer Instinct Gold didn't really do much. I think Killer Instinct 2 might have came out in the arcades if I remember. But it was like, all right, I got this N64 system. I'm graduating school, high school. I got to get a job. The arcades really started to wane, and I didn't make an effort. Then they closed the mall and tore it down, and we didn't have any dedicated arcades. So it was basically the cinema and some bowling alleys and some bars. Still, a couple places until Dave & Buster's came years later. But I would say getting the Dreamcast was the final nail in the coffin for me for the arcades, because I got the Dreamcast and Soul Calibur day one, and I wasn't familiar with the Soul Calibur or Soul Edge series at that point. I think it was a PlayStation 1. And then they got, based on that popularity, I'm guessing, the cinema got Soul Calibur Arcade. And I went to play it, and it looked not even close to as good as the Dreamcast version. Like, visually, it was a huge step down. And I played it a few times just because I was pretty good, with Keelik and especially. So I'd like played it a few times while waiting for the movies, but I'm like, why am I playing this lesser version and paying, $1 something or whatever for credit? And that was the death of arcades for me. So for those watching, do you have in the comments in the live chat? Was there a do you remember the day the arcades died for you? Curious. Yeah, so that's basically it. I can go. Let's see. Bring up my. Let me go to here. I'll mute the. I'll keep an eye on the game, on the match. So yeah, that was like I said, just kind of wanted to go over my history and hopefully try to just kind of just calm down the Terry Bogard situation. I know some people were surprised I never played or seen a King of Fighters game in the arcades. We had all the main ones. As far as I was concerned, we had all the big ones. Just if we had one in one of them at some point in my life, I seen one with my eyes. I have no actual memory of it. So clocked it. Let's see, N64, Dreamcast, PS1, and Saturn. Plus, just was getting older as well, working and spending less time hanging out in arcades. Yeah, that's it. But for me, it was more about just the games were giving me more from the home consoles. Like I'm playing A Link to the Past, and in the 16-bit era at the peak of the fighting games. But I own Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Mortal Kombat 2, and Killer Instinct on the Super Nintendo. Those got a lot of playtime when my friends were over. But I started realizing I was getting more into the longer experiences, the solo experiences. Clocked It and Retro Death did that Donkey Kong Country video. And they were talking about, obviously it's a great game and stuff, but one of my most vivid memories is beating that game the day I bought it and being disappointed because shit, I have this game. Yeah, I'm only at 50% according to the tracker for percentage, but I beat the game the night I bought it. It came out on my birthday, November 21st, 1994, I believe. And I went and bought it with my birthday money, and I went to the local Myers, rode my bike, got home, and hung out at my friend's house all night and beat it. And I was disappointed by the short length because I was looking more for experiences that had, and I played a lot of the game, don't get me wrong, but I was looking for more of long experiences that would carry me to the next purchase, because in all honesty, I just tallied up my 16-bit era collection of video games. Total number that I own myself was only 8, and one of those was Super Mario World, which came with the system. So I only bought, and I had to buy them all my own money. I only bought 7 games after getting the system myself. Everything else was played through friends, through their library. We would purposely buy games the other people didn't have so we could all play them, so that was kind of strategic. Hey, I got Donkey Kong Country, now you go buy Stunt Race FX or something, whatever it was, type of stuff, and then we just play. So I played a shit ton of Super NES games, rented a lot. I remember renting Clay Fighters at the Family Video right after it opened, and the game was trash. I'm pretty sure that was Super NES. It came out after Donkey Kong Country though. So I was a little disappointed in that regard. So that's why I think another reason the arcades was it was like short spurt. The competitive games were definitely the best, the best ones, and the co-op stuff with the gun games were all on rails. So I was just starting to lose. It was starting to lose it for me. But Dave & Buster's they brought arcades back. I went to one in Colorado once, and I was blown away by how many fucking cabinets they had and how many new ones they had. There's a lot of new ones that I never knew existed. Arcade versions of games I just thought were never in the arcade. I know Mario Karts. They didn't have one there, but I know there's a Mario Kart arcade. That just blew me away when I found that out a few years, how long ago that was. So let's see. Last memory I have back in the day was beating House of the Dead with a buddy at bowling alley around 17. Yeah, Dreamcast, PS2, and Internet Ego Shooter killed the arcade. I went to a barcade a few weeks ago and beat the hell out of some noobs in Street Fighter 2 though. Nice. I went to I don't live in the biggest city. I wonder how many people we have now, but the downtown's actually been resurging, and somebody opened a food truck taco place, and they have fucking Super Mario Brothers arcade, Mortal Kombat 2 arcade, a couple others, and I'm like, holy shit, I wanted to play. I didn't have any fucking quarters or any cash to get quarters, but I thought that was so cool. Place ain't gonna stay open because they're asking $5 for one fucking taco, and they're not that big. So, but yeah, it's still cool to see them. But I'm not surprised that there are people who haven't really experienced the arcades or don't have that many memories or didn't play certain games. So yeah, it's definitely an era that you had to live in to truly appreciate. I think just like seeing Mario 64 for this first time, you had to be there, coming off 16-bit going to 3D games to like truly know the impact it had. That's a goal. You guys aren't watching, but yeah, I don't have none of my friends from the arcade days. I don't hang out with anymore. So, but if we get a Juices Loose gathering together, it probably won't be in my unless it's in summer. Michigan's pretty awesome in summer, but I'd definitely love to go to the arcades with the Juices Loose crew and then play some. I don't care if I spend $50 on fucking quarters or arcade. That would be a night to remember. So hopefully someday we can do that. But yeah, I guess in the comments below, is there a arcade game I missed, or I didn't miss, but that you think is like a landmark or hallmark, whatever the word is, for you that made a big splash in the arcades where you were, and how do you feel about the ones? Did I bring back some good memories? Hopefully for you guys that are older. But yeah, so that's it. Again, I just think I think both sides of the Terry Bogard thing just gotta chillax. And just I know it's people are passionate, and the Smash is a big franchise and gets people excited, and we've had some hype announcements. But I just I just hopefully we can just get past it. Let's just play. I'd like to play some more Banjo-Kazooie. We played the night it came out, and we haven't played since, so I wouldn't mind playing a little Smash Brothers tonight. If anybody's interested, I'll be on the Discord. I'll do it so I'll do a general lobby with a code, so you don't have to be like friends and stuff for people to join. And let's play some Smash Brothers, man. Let's settle it in Smash. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this one. Thanks for tuning in on a Saturday. And hopefully, if you're in the regions getting hit by the hurricane and shit, hopefully everything's good. Because that's what, Mother Nature is a fucking scary thing sometimes. So, but yeah, thanks guys for tuning in, and we'll see you on Monday for the Juices Loose. I'm going to try to make a rule. Let's not have a debate. Let's not have an argument. Let's just try to get past it. I think I've said all I need to say, and hopefully we can just talk about some good stuff. There was some good announcements in the direct that got overlooked. I'm interested to watch the Digital Foundry's Overwatch analysis for the Switch version. Never thought that game would have any problem running on the Switch. I don't know why it took so long. But yeah, we'll have a direct recap and whatever else. So catch you guys next time.